Welcome back to another episode of Projecting Grandeur. I am your host, Ron Dichter. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being part of this community. We are helping entrepreneurs change the world, disrupt and innovate, and really take those risks and put them in motion. And really, that's what I'm all about, is giving anything I can to help entrepreneurs, because I think these are the people that are changing the world and making it a better place. So please don't forget to subscribe and make sure to not miss out. We put 5 episodes out a week, and it would be a bummer for you to miss one or catch it slightly delayed. Today, I want to talk about a movie that I saw. And I was flying back from a trip, and I typically don't watch movies. I typically work, but this plane had a Wi-Fi issue, and that prevented me from getting on the internet or checking any emails. Fine. So I was like, all right, I'll just open up some of the Word docs. I've been working on different plans, and I'll work on those. However, because I use a cloud storage, I went to go pull the documents and I couldn't, because I couldn't get on the internet. And I was like, geez, so I read for a little bit, but it was a long flight. And then I was like, all right, I'm going to put on a movie. And I turned on the TV and scrolled through the new releases and saw the new Brad Pitt race car movie. I think it's called F1. And I was like, all right, we'll watch this. And so I started watching it, and it's about a guy who is, quote, past his prime, which is a different topic. We're not going to talk about that today. But somebody who has a lot of experience but hasn't raced in a long time, or at least not in that circuit. And he was, talking to his race team, and he was giving inspirational words about how we need to make the car faster. And he said, we don't need to make the car faster from all of you. We just need each of you to contribute something that can make the car a tenth of a second faster. And if I can get a tenth of a second from you talking to the tire person, a tenth of a second from you talking about, a different team member. And he kept going through the list of people and said, listen, if I can just get a tenth of a second from every one of you together, that's going to give us 6 seconds per lap. Over the course of the race, that's the difference between first place and last place. And it got me thinking, as I was, watching this movie, that that's such a true statement in so many types of businesses. Let's take, for example, my business, where it's software. My whole job is to get a customer signed in as little as touch points as possible, then get them onboarded in as few of touches as we can, and then get them live and obviously, using the platform. And if I can accelerate any of those things, meaning if I can sign an account quicker, 1 appointment versus 2, no appointments, just have them self-sign up. If I can onboard them quicker, meaning if I can, get them through with 1 call as opposed to 3, or no calls, maybe they can self-board. If we can put processes, tools, things that can help people do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull revenue forward. It's going to help me maximize the value of that customer and actually realize the revenue faster by being able to pull that forward. So I got thinking about like all the different things that I could do in my own business, about how I can, find myself a tenth of a second in all these different things that I'm doing. And I kind of got like excited. And I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like there's all these different places that if we could just either add technology to speed things up, or if we could add automation, if we could add AI, like all these different things that we could leverage. If we can pull a tenth of a second forward from each of our departments, we might be able to realize revenue 2, 3, in some cases 4 weeks faster, which is almost an entire month of billing that we can get. And not to mention, the faster we get people on the platform, the less likely it is that they're not going to, get on the platform. If you've ever worked in software, that's a real concern, is, the longer the time goes from when you sign them to when they get on the platform, you run the risk that they forgot why they signed up in the first place, and they end up not moving forward or sticking with who they're with. So being able to not only pull that revenue forward, but also ensure that we can, maximize the people that do sign up and get them on the platform, and not, have anything that leak out the bottom. Like, this is huge. And so I got thinking about this movie, and I was like, maybe this wasn't the intended lesson. Maybe it was just for entertainment. But when Brad Pitt was explaining this to his crew, I thought to myself, oh my gosh, like this is such a great lesson. So I wanted to talk about it today, because a lot of times we talk about the things that either I've done and I've applied to my own businesses, or I bring on a guest and I talk about the things that they've done in their own businesses. But here's just paying attention to the real world and things that are out there and the lessons that we can take, because I'm a student just like all of you. Just because I've had, successful businesses and successful exits doesn't mean that I'm not still learning myself. And I thank Brad Pitt for teaching me this lesson, because I picked up, or I should say, I thank the writers, for teaching me this lesson, because now I have the ability to pick up, some tenth of seconds in my own business, and I'm going to apply this next week. And I'm thinking about it from the operations view, from the sales view, from the onboarding support. How do we shave off time? How do we, keep the quality of service, keep the quality of product, but at the same time shave off seconds so that we can realize revenue faster and keep customers longer? So I think that this analogy will resonate with many of you. It applies to so many different business types, and just encourage you to think about it. Think about your own business, all the different places that you interact with a customer. How can you shave time off? And maybe time isn't literal, maybe it's just steps and things like that, but how can you improve that process? Not the whole thing, just one little, iterative improvement per department, so that in the aggregate, those things make real impact into the business, into your revenue, and into the experience that your customers have. So hope you find this helpful. This is me being a student and learning alongside of you. And thank you to the writers of F1 and Brad Pitt for teaching me. This is Projecting Grandeur. My name is Ron Dichter, your host. Please don't forget to like and comment. Most importantly, subscribe and share. Lots of entrepreneurs in this world. 2026 is going to be a big year for many of them. Let's go help them win. Have a good day.